wondered why somebody who has been a smoker for 30 years of their lives, the moment they find out they have lung cancer, they are suddenly able to quit? And the same person who has been talking about how much they wish they could quit smoking, but they can't, it's too hard, it's too much, they've tried all these different ways, but suddenly the moment they find out that it is necessary for them to do that thing for their life, they're suddenly able to quit. How is it possible that there are some people who, no matter how hard they try to change something, they're not able to, but others make a decision in a moment and they're able to do it? What is the difference that makes the difference? The difference that makes the difference is your self-image. Your inner self-image is an autopilot mechanism, a neutral mechanism, which is on a job to keep you in consistency with how you define yourself. So every one of us, okay, we have this of an inner mirror, okay? And this mirror reflects back to us who we believe we are. So this isn't just who I believe I am as a person, but also what do I believe I deserve? What do I believe I am worthy of? What results do I believe I am able to create in my life? And who you believe you are and what you believe to be true about your reality is that of a self-perpetuating mechanism. And if you've watched even, a couple of my videos, you will have noticed that I say these words a lot, self-perpetuating mechanism, because that's true. A lot of times we don't recognize or realize these, if you could hear that is our macaw. We have two, they're very loud, but we don't realize the dynamics of our internal world are very self-perpetuating, right? So when we are out here looking for clues in the external world to give us some solution to something that is going on in our lives, because we know for a fact, we believe for a fact that the answer has to be outside, right? The physical world, I need to be able to see it, I need to be able to feel it. But the truth is that the answers, more often than not, are always on the inside. If you, let's say, for example, if you're somebody who wants more abundance in their life, right? And when I say abundance, I mean specifically you want to generate more financial wealth. You want to earn more money, okay? But you've never earned that kind of money before. But you have this vision for, oh, well, a year from now, I'm going to be earning this much more money. But you haven't done it before. What is the gap that keeps you from not having created that level of wealth? That gap is your inner reflection, your inner self-image. You see yourself as somebody who makes only $5,000 a month. But if you suddenly start to see yourself as someone who makes $50K a month, then what happens? You cannot be the same person you were being in this moment. And a lot of times people don't realize this, that when they say, I want that big house, or I want that car, I want that thing on the outside world, it's that I want this, I want that. First of all, it's not you who wants that, because you, in essence, are awareness. You are consciousness. You are presence. You are a spirit. Your ego is the part of you that attaches itself to these things to feel important, to feel like I exist. The ego needs to identify itself with the outside world to feel relevant. Your spirit does not need that, because you have existed before you came into this world. You will exist even when your earthly life ends. We don't fade into nothingness. At least that's what I believe. That's what my religion teaches me, is that this is just one of the lives we're living. And once our earthly life ends, the spirit goes on and moves on to the next phase of life. And so I want you to really think about this. I know I brought in a lot of different concepts together, but I want you to recognize that your self-image is, when especially it's a negative limiting self-image, it is attached very heavily to the ego. And the ego will constantly tell you that I'm not enough. I need to do more. I need to have more. I need to be more. I need people to like me. I need to wear a certain type of dress, a certain brand of bag I need to carry. My shades need to be Prada. My shoes need to be freaking Gucci. My phone needs to be the latest iPhone that came out. Your ego needs these things to feel superior and important. But that is another conversation. I am aware of it. But today, when we're talking about in our self-image, is that our self-image, when it is a limiting one, it keeps us back, it holds us back from creating the results we want in our lives, right? From having that wealth, having that health, that body, those habits, being that kind of person, that partner, that dream relationship, everything you actually want to create in this worldly life. By the way, wanting to have things isn't bad. You know, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying that once we cleanse our intention for the reason why we are wanting to create these things, it's so much more easier to attract them in our lives. Again, a whole different conversation. But self-image is how you view yourself, which is what creates the results that you have in your life. So for example, if somebody sees themselves as a job goer, okay, so that person has this inner identity that I am a 9-to-5 kind of person. I'm somebody who does a 9-to-5. I'm in the corporate world. Nobody calls themselves a corporate rat. Although with Gen Z, I really feel like people do. I'm a corporate rat. But Gen Z is built different, you know. I'm Gen Z. So point is that whatever, if your identity is that I have, you know, I'm somebody who has a 9-to-5 job, you will have a hard time starting a business because your identity is attached to your job, right? And if you're trying to start a business, but your identity is pulling you back because it says, who are you to start a business? You're somebody who has a 9-to-5 job. You can't start a business. So in order to do the things on the outside that we want to do, we need to change the inside first, so that when we make the shifts on the outside, the inside does not pull you back. So the way that your self-image works is that your self-image, whatever it is, it gives you the energy. It influences the energy you feel, which influences your predominant emotions, which influences your beliefs, your thoughts, your habits, your actions, behaviors, and ultimately your results. And those results enforce this self-image. The reason why people cling on to their self-image is because they have proof of it. So for example, if somebody has a self-image that nobody likes me, okay, so there's this girl, she's at a school dance. I was giving this example to my in my inner circle workshop earlier today, that there's this girl, she's at a school dance, okay, and now she has this inner self-image that I'm someone nobody likes. Nobody likes to hang out with me. I am always rejected. And she's at this school dance and her energy is super closed off. She's standing in a corner. She feels anxious and she's like, oh, like nobody likes me and I'm a loner, I'm this, I'm that, and her energy is so contracted, right? And all these people over here, they're dancing, they're having fun, they're having a time of their life, and then one guy walks up to her and he's like, hey, do you want to dance with us? And she looks at him and she has this mean, bitter face because in her mind there's this entire narrative going on and on and on about how all these people hate her, they're judging her, they're, you know, this and that. And she goes like, no. And then she starts thinking that, well, he probably pities me and he thinks I'm such a loser that I want to dance with him, and he thinks this, he thinks that. And then she just feels so upset and so worked up that she goes home feeling so rejected and thinking, well, I knew it. I knew nobody likes me. And this guy who asked her out for the dance goes like, dude, I what did I do wrong? I mean, she seemed nice. I just wanted to have a dance. That is what your inner self-image will have you do. It will make you believe that things are not the way they seem. It will make you feel like your beliefs are factual reality. And it will make you behave in a way that can reinforce your beliefs, so that you have no option but to believe those beliefs. That's a riddle for you. So the idea is that you will live a life that is equal to your sense of self. If you believe nobody likes you, guess what's gonna happen, baby? You will always think that nobody likes you. If you believe that people always leave you, baby, people will always leave you. If you believe that you are not worthy of love, no matter how many people in the world love you, you will never feel loved. If you believe that you are, you're not good enough for a promotion, or if you believe that you can't run a business, let's take that. If you believe you can't run a business, and then you still start a business, but you believe so strongly that you can't run this business, what's gonna happen? You're gonna screw it up. Because we all have a need to stay in consistency with how we define ourselves. But that is a good thing, by the way, because you can use this inner mechanism, which is neutral. It doesn't discriminate. It's almost like Google Maps, right? So if I put in the map that I want to go to this mall, my map is not going to tell me that, Anna, you shouldn't be going to this mall. It seems like a bad idea. The reviews might tell me that if it's a bad mall, but the map itself won't. It'll say, okay, cool, you want to go? Wallah, I'll take you, Let's go. Yalla. But that is exactly how our inner mechanism works, wherein once you feed your inner GPS information about who you are, who you're not, what you're worth, what you're not worth, it will draw in from this 11 million bits of information that exist all around you. It will draw in 40 to 50 bits of information that are equal to your inner self-image, so that you can keep living a life that is consistent to your sense of self. I mean, think about this, for example. People who keep dating toxic people who keep meeting narcissistic men, people who keep dating cheating people who keep getting betrayed. That is their self-image, that they once at some point they decided that I am somebody who always gets abandoned, always gets cheated on, always gets betrayed, always gets abused by narcissists. And when they're living this self-image, now they're literally inviting situations and events that keep perpetuating their inner narrative. Perpetuating, guys. Perpetuating. Something just came to my mind, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. For the life of me, I do remember. Okay, what I was gonna say, so our negative identities, okay, how are they formed? Negative identities are formed because the way that a negative sense, the way that a negative inner self-image is formed or identity is formed is also, by the way, a protective mechanism. Think about this. Let's say that you had a project due on Tuesday, and you procrastinated all week, which is something you don't normally do. And then it's Tuesday and you realize, oh crap, I procrastinated. And now you feel so guilty and so ashamed, and you're like, oh no, what did I do? And so, you go up to your boss and you go like, man, I'm so sorry. You probably won't. I mean, if you're really honest, you'll be like, I procrastinated, but probably you'll tell them that, oh, my grandma, she was really unwell, even though your grandma's been dead 5 years. So you're gonna do one of those two things and your boss will give you an extension, but you will feel so much guilt and shame because you procrastinated, and that is not who you are, man. So now you're like, oh, okay, never again. But then 2 weeks later, similar stuff happens, you procrastinate, and now you feel like absolute crap because this is the second time in a row that you did this thing that you don't normally do. What happens when you do it a third time, a fourth time? What happens is you go from I procrastinated to I am a procrastinator. Now, if you're saying I procrastinated, there's so much guilt and shame there because that is not who I am. But if you're saying I'm a procrastinator, then, well, that's just my personality. How many people say that? I'm just like that, I just have anger issues. I'm just a walking red flag. People accept all kinds of disempowering things about themselves because it hurts less when that's who you are. Because when you accept it as yourself, you're saying that, oh, I'm just flawed as a person. There is no hope for me. I'm just, I'm just like that. But when you're saying that this is a behavior I did, but it's not something I normally do, then I did something that is bad. So what we want to do, the idea here is that we want to become aware of what inner self-image has been running on autopilot for us. What has been your autopilot self-image that has prevented you from having and being the person that you want to be? And so this protective negative self-image does not serve you. The only purpose it serves is that it protects you from feeling shame and guilt. But it is also the same thing that keeps you in a box. It keeps you in a box of your limited self, Then even when you try to be better, there is resistance created. There is resistance, You resist it. And this resistance keeps you from changing in the long term, because then change, everything you want to change, is a preference, not a necessity to you. And people have all kinds of preferences, right? People will say, well, I prefer if I was skinnier. I prefer if I woke up early. I prefer, by the way, they don't say prefer, right? They say, oh man, I really want to wake up early. Oh, Anna, how do you wake up at 5 a.m. every day? I wish I could do that. When they're saying, I wish I could do that, what are they really saying? Well, I'm not committed enough to do it, but damn, I would prefer that. And then when you ask them, okay, well, why don't you? Oh, me and my life, it just, I can't do it, No, you're just not committed to it. That's all it is. Like, you guys realize it's so incredible that it is just a commitment. It is just a commitment. You know how I became a 5 a.m. girly? I committed to it one day, one Sunday. I was like, you know what? I want to wake up from 5 a.m. tomorrow. Cool. Didn't sleep all Saturday night, all Sunday, like Saturday night, and then, all the day of Sunday. And then I slept till like 8 p.m. Woke up the next day, 5 a.m. Been waking up at 5 a.m. since. I love it. I committed to it. Anything you would commit to is who you are, What is an identity? An identity is literally just a commitment to yourself. It is a commitment that this is who I am, this is who I'm not. My commitment to myself would be that, I'm someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. I am not someone who wakes up at 12 p.m. So if ever I do that, except for, Sundays, I'm totally someone who sleeps in on Sundays. But when I do that, I don't feel great. When I wake up this one day, I remember I wasn't feeling the best. My body was really tired. So I woke up at 8 a.m. and I looked at the time and I was like, 8 a.m., man. I missed out my day. It was 8 a.m., guys. But that is what happens when you make an identity level commitment. So here, what you want to do to figure out what is keeping you at your old self-image channel, what is keeping you from your authentic self, which is, your ideal self-image, which is who you really are in your core, which is love, which is more freedom, more abundance. Anything you want in your life is not the thing that you want. It's the feeling that you want. It's the feeling of freedom. It's the feeling of fulfillment. It's the feeling of being loved. It's the feeling of being love. It's the feeling of having the thing that we want, not the thing itself. And if we can embody that feeling in this moment, we can be the version of ourselves that we would be when we have the thing that we want. We can, skyrocket our manifestations. So here, you want to identify what is your current box off your limited self, okay? What are your, actions? What are your habits? What are your behaviors? And so on. What are your emotions? What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs? And then what you want to do is find out, well, who do you need to be to have the things that you want in your life? Who do you need to be to create all of that? Who would you be when you have the dream house, the dream partner, the dream car, the dream everything, the dream career? Who would you be? What beliefs would you have? What energy would you embody? What behaviors? What habits? What patterns? And then you want to meditate and wire this in. So the word meditate literally means to become familiar with. So you want to become so familiar with your authentic self, and you want to, you want to memorize real self. And you want to forget your old self. So you want to memorize who your limited self is. Memorize this to let go of it, to forget it, to become aware of it, actually. Forget is not the word, but you want to become aware of it. You want to become aware of your old self, and you want to memorize your real self. As you become aware of your old habits, patterns, behaviors, you can wake up when they're happening, and then you want to memorize the real self so that this real self can step in when you are being different from it. And when we begin to see ourselves differently internally, the external world gives us a reflection of that. When we change who we are in here, in all of this, then the outside world gives us feedback as a reflection of the change we created, because you are no longer being the same person. You are no longer, at the school dance, sitting in a corner. You walk in with courage. You walk in to dance. You walk in to party. When you go into a room, social anxiety leaves. How many people have you heard, I have social anxiety, I can't talk to people? Well, what if you could? What if there was a version of you that, an alter ego? The funnest way to do this, I don't know if funnest is a word, but I would say it is. Even if it weren't, I would create it because that's such a fun word. But the funnest way to do this is to create an alter ego. So when you're in a moment where your old self wouldn't do something like that, right? But you know that your authentic self would. So in that moment, you bring it and you call out to your alter ego, and you go ahead and you do the thing. When I started taking cold showers, it used to feel so hard at first. So then I would always call out my alter ego, and I'd be like, okay, well, Anna can't do it, but this part of me can. And then I would power through it. And so the whole idea is that it's all a game of imagination, baby. You can imagine it. When we learn to play with our imagination, we can do wonders in our lives. I am so serious about this. You can imagine yourself as a success, and then imagine it so many times that you become it. And a lot of times, I remember Tony Robbins said this quote. He said, fear is imagination undirected. Fear and faith are the same thing. Fear is imagination undirected, right? Faith is conscious imagination. It is when we know that there's someone larger than life, there's a God above us who is guiding us, who is protecting us, and who always has our back. And so when we are believing in our limitedness, we are actually saying that, well, I don't believe that God can give me something so big, which is probably just a pebble for God. He created the universe. Do you really think that giving you that dream house is a big deal for him? He created the heavens and the earth, and you think that he won't give you your dream car, and you're so scared of starting a business because what if God doesn't help you? Come on, get over yourself. We all like to think that we're so special, that, we're the exception in the universe, and we fight to keep our story alive, and we fight to say that you don't know my pain. No, hey, we've all been through shit. I'm not discrediting your pain. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm not saying that it didn't hurt. I have seen pain. I know it freaking hurts. But I also know that we need to get over ourselves and realize that it's not personal. That the only reason we went through it was because it was necessary for us, and we needed to learn something out of it. And when we get out of this mentality of, oh my God, poor me, life is always so terrible for me, and go okay, all right, God, what do you want me to learn here? I am done feeling sorry for myself. If you want to feel sorry for yourself, go ahead, right? But then don't complain when life just keeps giving you reasons to feel sorry for yourself for. If you want to change something, change this. Change yourself. Change your inner self-image. Change what you are putting out into the world. Change the person you're being. Nothing changes until nothing changes, my friends. So with that, we come to a conclusion for this self-image, this video on how to transform your self-image. I have done a longer version, a 3-hour long version with 2 meditations in my inner circle, which if you get the membership for, which is on 50% off right now, you will also get access to the workshop once you get the membership for the inner circle. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you know where to reach me in the comments or on my Instagram. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.